Dear colleagues, participants of 39th IBIMA conference, greetings from Riga, Latvia. My name is Dr. Ioseb GABELAIA. I am an associate professor at Granada University of Applied Sciences. And today it is an absolute pleasure to be sharing with you my research dedicated to applicability of artificial intelligence marketing for creating data-driven marketing strategies. Topic itself resonates and sits with my professional career, and also with a interest how we are acquiring and discussing available data and information, basically how we are moving from data to information and from information to the insights. Saying that, today's conversation, today's video will have a introduction, literature review. I promise you only a couple of moments in here: research methodology, research findings and results, conclusion, and acknowledgement. As an introduction, why this topic, why I have done this particular research, and why we are investing so much time in this area. In digitally challenged world where we live today, the strategic marketing planning itself demands literally in-depth awareness of available information around us, because that information gives us the customer needs, preferences, experiences, obviously how can we manage how customers are communicating with us. So this is the ability how quickly we can take that information and then obviously convert it into the valuable data for the strategic planning. Saying that, it is critically important to think from the artificial intelligence marketing that demonstrates a practical and comprehensive way how we can harness that power. And when we speak a power, it is how we are harnessing the power of the data and how we are creating the data-driven marketing strategies. Not every, let's say, industry or the marketing practitioner or let's say analyzes data in the right way without any type of the assistance. Because end of the day, everything comes and drops on the return on investment, how much of the time we have invested, how we have looked on the analytical information, and obviously how those tactics and strategy are complementing each other. So when we speak about that, the effective artificial intelligence powered solutions indeed has the opportunity to be a powerful tool. How we are embracing the, let's say, intelligence solutions, and of course nurturing the customer experience, because customers are the key elements when we are thinking about the data-driven strategies, right? Moreover, when we are talking about the artificial intelligence marketing in this environment, we are trying to see how we can bridge relationship between customer data as well as the actionable next steps. And this is the two components that I want us to think about and where this research is going. Not only today, but the next two, let's say, the full papers that's going to come out from this research, it is dedicated to the customer data and the actionable next steps. Therefore, the purpose for this particular research was to illustrate the current and existing circumstances, which is around marketing, let's say, in the marketing, and how we are applying the artificial intelligence into it. We know that many organizations, many companies struggle with it. With several reasons. Could be the resources available, how can we sustain them in the long-term perspective, because at the end of the day, all this information comes back to the sales, costs, risk reductions, etc. and etc. So we have to be very careful how we are looking on those ones and then how we are creating the strategy. So therefore, we will explore the applicability of this one, how it resonates in several different regions. Of course, it's also critically important to look on this one because now we need to know how we, in the different regions, what kind of resources are available, and whether or not the samples, the communities, they are accepting the information from the right way and the correct way. Saying that, it's also very important then to look from the literature, right? What is the gap available? Looking on the particular literature in artificial intelligence, we can go decades back how the first time some type of the automatization was applied into the business environment, and then how much we have come through. right? Today, what we are looking is that, especially with this pandemic environment, how we reach the point where the performances into the marketing heavily also is depending on the artificial intelligence and its evaluation, and where it takes the marketers, how we can look on the customization, how we are looking on the our targets. And obviously, one of my very interesting approaches here is that the STP, the framework, for example, that allows us to think from the perspective how carefully, how strategically we can approach each segment, each market, and then, let's say, avoid that complexity that comes with it. We in reality know that we cannot avoid that complexity. However, artificial intelligence marketing gives us opportunity to navigate that chaos with a processes which are specially dedicated for those processes. And of course, in the literature, we have seen some of the gaps which are available. We have looked a lot of the scientific articles, professional articles to identify what it is, which I'm going to elaborate shortly in here. But when it comes to that research methodology, that's exactly what we have done, right? The major concentration, there was a quantitative research. Obviously, in this particular the approach, the survey was conducted. We reached out to particularly marketing practitioners in the different regions, which was elaborated in the research. Out of the marketing practitioners, we received around 367 the specialists who participated in the area. One thing I have to note that the participants were with experience working in the marketing industry. There was one of the key criteria when we were selecting the population and sample of the population, because we wanted to avoid any type of the limitations, any type of the misguidance, because we wanted to build something which would be then meaningful. So therefore, we also look on the industries. All these professionals were represented from the 22, let's say, the different marketing professions from 11 countries and also 18 different industries, on which I'm going to elaborate shortly here. To address the research question and investigate the applicability of the artificial intelligence, creating data-driven marketing strategies, we used a two-step strategy. The first strategy was use the systematic literature review, because it was critically important to identify the gap, because we know that there is enormous data available. Obviously, we don't want to repeat what's in there. We want to see some of those gaps, and then think from that perspective, which allowed us to look on the 4 very critical patterns that we identified in here, which was really, really nice for our purpose, because it's not only helped with this particular the write-up, but also gave us the navigation how to continue with the research, which I also will show you end of the day here. And the second, obviously, based on the literature of the data was available, we created the questionnaire survey, used the Question Pro software, and obviously data information was analyzed using the SPSS software, as well as the NVivo 12, just to make sure that we can synthesize the information from literature and then empirical research. One of the first findings, what we see here, is that we were collecting this information for around a year, which actually gave us a lot of flexibility in terms that we could reach out to people, we could inquire from them to participate in there, and that was actually very meaningful. As you can see, we finally obtained 367, even though 457 participants, from the population actually opened the survey or viewed in a way, but fortunately for us, around 367 provided a feedback, which was actually very normal, very successful for our particular the research. We on purpose maintained the brackets in there, the time limit, because we didn't want it to go over and over, because sometimes that enormous information might not be helpful for the research. Other than that, we also looked on the findings, just something I wanted to mention earlier. We wanted to show the professions that was participating there, as you see here, everything from the simple the marketing specialist all the way to communications director, and in between you see different the areas from the marketing analysis, from the brand managers, and then majority of them actually were the representatives in the industry from the search engine optimization, which is actually really cool as well, but also from the social media managers, and that actually shows that how much of the data actually could be obtained from those guys who are in the front and working with artificial intelligence, means the processes and everything like that. That was key for our research. Here is the industry itself, 18 different industries, all the way from travel through telecommunications. We had a really good representation from the entertainment industry, also with the hospitality industry and the media, which was very, very much valuable for us in our research. On the other side, we also looked on the relevance. Some of the questions we were asked was the relevance of the creating data-driven marketing strategies. Here is the four representations here, how our respondents kind of reacted to it. For example, how relevant in today's strategic planning to creating data-driven strategies. And then if you follow this particular line here, we will see that majority of the participants right here do believe that it's quite important to be working on the data-driven strategies, which actually puts the step in front for the data and how we have to play with it. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, also gives us the navigation for the future research, which actually data is already there. We just have to add a couple more details in it. Then we talked about the data-driven marketing strategies, how important they are for the business. That also actually highlights that they are very important, but at the same time, we just have to be careful how we are playing with it. One of the interesting questions we asked was about the artificial intelligence disrupting marketing environment. As you can see, many still believe, but if you look on the data and information, we also can see that there was some confusions in between the responses in there. And then lastly, the artificial intelligence marketing aligned with the current and overall marketing strategies. That question was particularly applied for them in their own industry, and we see that 36% believes that it's slightly aligned, which shows that many businesses, they're not using them in the right purpose or right way in here, which actually again is the key consideration we want to pay attention. We also looked on how artificial intelligence and data strategies are employed into the companies. What we have done here is that we have the 5 scales, then we merged it and made it in 3 scales. So we selected only extremely, somewhat, and not at all, basically 3, 2, and 1. And then we see that from the positioning artificial marketing strategies in the business, we see they extremely highlighted, and there is somewhat highlighted that it is aligned into the business and industry. Then investing into the AI coaching, which is very important. We're talking about utilizing strong data systems, which is also very important, and also talking about the ensuring its adaptation in there. So those are the key, let's say, the patterns and outlines. We were really excited to work on it. Obviously, this data also gives us the opportunity to work more on it and continue our research in what we are doing. Here is the quick comparison also into the Baltic region, how they're utilizing the Caucasus region, Europe, and the USA. There is some of the identified factors, right? Email marketing, automated campaigns, optimization, digital marketing, on-site, other, and they didn't know. We have some really good interests in here. We see that email marketing, automated campaigns are still very popular, and then into the full paper, it actually shows and elaborates a little bit more of the details in what we have done in here. As when it comes to the conclusions, it was critically important that our research showed that there is a significant relationship in between the patterns that we have identified. Also, our research showed that there are still barriers and the drivers that are limiting marketing practitioners to work with the data, obviously, and challenging strategies in the long term. Obviously, as a future research, what we are doing right now is that we are working on the data-driven content processes. From this particular research, that information is also available, but goes into the different full paper, and then obviously the customer information, as we have mentioned in the introduction, that those are the 2 components which I want to pay attention, because there is at least 2 more full articles coming from this big research, because we have huge data available in here. And obviously, towards the end, I wanted to take a moment and acknowledge the professor from Riseva, Professor Tatiana Vasilieva, because she helped us with the process and the idea to participate in the IBIMA conference. Without her, I definitely would not know that IBIMA conference exists, and for me it's absolute pleasure and honor to be sharing my research in here. Obviously, the references are available in the full paper. Every document is cited and referenced. And thank you for your attention for today. I hope you'll find my research interesting. If there will be any questions, here is my email address. I'll be more than happy to receive your emails and to give you feedback on that. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.